Hey guys, Ron DiSanto here. I'm a real estate agent here in Richmond, Virginia, and today I'm going to take you along with me to meet a home inspector for some clients of mine. Clients I actually met on YouTube. They're coming here from California to Richmond, Virginia, and I'm basically going to be their boots on the ground until they arrive. But in this video, I'm going to basically cover three things. One is, what do home inspectors look for when they're inspecting a home? Two, what's the home inspection timeline? How many days do you have to inspect the property? And once a repair request is sent off to the seller side, how many days do you have in the negotiating period to go back and forth and negotiate those repairs? And finally, I'm going to talk about what kinds of things can you even ask for in those repairs? Like, what is a defect? What is cosmetic? What does the seller have to fix if they want to proceed to closing and actually sell the house? And what do they not have to fix? And then after that, basically going to just improvise based on whatever it is we uncover while we're doing the home inspection and talk about that. But one thing for sure I can promise you is it will be educational, so definitely stick around. Hey guys, Ron DiSanto here. I'm here with Red Worsham. He's my home inspector. He has been for many years. He's going to do a home inspection on this house today. It's a 2,100 square foot home, and we're going to go through it, and along the way I'm going to point out some things. This person is a FHA buyer, so this is going to be different things going to be important to different kinds of buyers and different kinds of lending types. So we're going to talk to Red here, and we're going to talk about kinds of like things that you usually find in home inspections, most common things, and we'll just kind of go from there.
All right, so we usually start at one spot of the house, like at the staircase, and we'll just move all the way around the house till we get back to where we started at, looking at every single thing that we can. Don't want to miss anything. Well, a big thing on these type of houses, when you wrap the trim, we like to push on that to make sure that the wood behind there is solid, because sometimes water can get behind where the joints, if they fail, water can get behind there and cause rot. Just looking at this anything, let's see, like nail heads rusting on the ends there, they need to be sealed up. I noticed that there's some vegetation on the house there, it needs to be cut back.
Like right away, I'm seeing the things you're talking about, and you're right. But these are things that a lot of people could take care of, you know, before they list the house for sale.
Yeah, sure. Right? A lot of them just overlooked, like that. Those branches, they've been there a while, and they just overlooked it as all. They've been going in and out of the house for so long. And you know, when you're also looking at a house, you'll notice that I'll start up close and look around and push on the sills and stuff, and then before I move into the inside, I'll step back and do another walk around from a distance. That's pretty much the gist of the home inspection.
Okay, we'll go around. I'll follow you.
Pointing to the purple on the ceiling.
Well, Red right now has a thermal imaging camera. Let's take a look at this. I'm just going to get it in there. Okay, and you're pointing at the ceiling, and what do you see now?
I just see the temperature that is colder right there where that water's staying in. After I ran all the water upstairs, I came down to double check. Right. So all this tells me is temperature, but it leads me, why else would it be cold unless it's wet?
Let me see. So it's right there. There's a little cold spot. Got a little purple in the center, and that is right there. Okay. And
we can confirm it. I usually have to get a moisture meter to confirm it, but down here on the ground, you can see that there's much water down there.
There you go.
Yeah, but I was just saying, but if it didn't drip through, and it was on that one side, I'd be able to see a cold spot, and then I would go get my moisture meter and just confirm it. Because all this is showing is temperature, but more than likely water stain, cold spot, wet. So, but you do want to confirm it with the meter.
And there you have it. That's why you do a home inspection. It looks like
a toilet in that.
Yeah, but it looks like they made a repair there. They must have cut a hole to install.
Check the heating and cooling system with this.
So how does that work?
Well, you know, I can see the temperature here reading. You can tell that it's actually cooling, and I'll do a duct supply and a return temperature check just to make sure. Okay. Temperature up top there shows me what's coming out, and I can go through the house and just check all of them real quick to make sure that they are. Maybe one's not disconnected in the crawl space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really loose.
Maybe the seal's not there.
There's a wax seal under there, and it's. Oh yeah, that needs to be tightened up for sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just hanging out in the kitchen right now, waiting for Red to finish up the home inspection. So while I'm waiting, let's talk about the home inspection process and the time frame and how it really works. So with this particular home, we requested a 10-day home inspection period. Before the hot market, when it was really a buyer's market or a balanced market, I'd always ask for like 14 days, but we asked for 10. A lot of people are waiving home inspection, so I wanted to keep it as short as possible. So we have 10 days, and we are 8 days right now into our 10-day inspection period. the reason why we're waiting so long is because of availability. The home inspector didn't have any availability up until today. So that's really not a problem, because he's going to go home, he's going to go through he's going to create the inspection report, have it prepared for me this evening, and then I will go over it with the purchaser, and we're going to determine what repairs, if any, are we going to ask for. And then once that happens, we put all of those requests on a repair request form, and then I send that over to the list side. The seller looks at it and either agrees to fix all of the defects that we requested, or negotiates and crosses some things out, and we just go back and forth. But here's the important thing. Once I send that report over, it could be on day 9 of the home inspection period, where you have 10 days. It could be day 9. Once that repair request is sent over to the seller side, that initiates a 7-day negotiating window. So it'll go past the 10 days, and that's okay. So even if it's like on the last day of the home inspection, it starts a 7-day negotiating period. And that's how much time you have to go back and forth and determine what's going to be fixed, what's not going to be fixed. Sometimes, actually a lot of the time, if a seller wants to avoid making all of the repairs, they say, okay, in lieu of repairs, I will give you X amount of dollars, $2,000, $3,000 towards your closing, a buyer credit, in lieu of all of these repairs. And then they agree, and the seller doesn't have to worry about fixing things, and the buyer doesn't have to worry about re-inspecting everything. And after the property closes, then the buyer can go ahead and maybe make some of those repairs themselves. So while we're in the kitchen, let's talk about something really quick here. Let's talk about what is actually being inspected in a kitchen. Now, in this particular home, with this particular contract, the refrigerator was negotiated for and put into the contract. So this is conveying with the property. So this is going to be something that Red is going to inspect, make sure it's working properly, make sure the ice maker is working and it's functional. Because if it's not functional, there are certain things that can be requested, fixed, and a refrigerator is one of them if it's in the contract. Okay, so next let's talk about what is a defect and what is cosmetic, because there's a difference and it really matters when it comes to requesting repairs. So a defect means that the item isn't working in a way in which it was intended to work. Like if the dishwasher that's running right now, if that dishwasher was broken and not working right, that's a defect. If the stain on the garage floor is unsightly, it's not really hindering the function of the floor, it just doesn't look good. That's cosmetic. In a repair request, you can request that the seller fix the dishwasher because it's not working the way it was intended to. And if they don't want to fix it, then you have the right to walk away from the contract and get your deposit back. But you're not going to get refunded the cost of the home inspection. The same thing goes for the appraisal. When the appraiser comes in, that FHA appraiser, if they find an issue and the seller does not agree to fix it, then you're not, that $600 you just spent for the home appraisal is not refundable. So it's always good to negotiate repairs and avoid having to find another home and have those combined up to $1,000 in expenses all over again. And so the negotiating part is very important. Know what to ask for. I always suggest talk to your real estate agent. Safety things, if there's any wiring issues, wire nuts, exposed wires, those are the things that are really important because they pose a safety hazard. Whereas maybe a broken window seal is not really a safety issue, it's more of a thermal insulation issue. Another thing I want to mention is home warranties, like American Home Shield. There's a lot of companies out there that offer year-to-year home warranty programs that cover appliances, and there's different levels, different deductibles and things like that. But for a home buyer who's buying a home, for the first year, I would say, yeah, get a home warranty. It's a good idea. It's going to kind of protect you from those little things that may pop up, especially with this home. He's buying a home warranty, my purchaser, with this property, and he's probably going to have to use it a couple of times because there might be some issues that pop up along the way. But it's always a good idea, at least for the first year, to get something like that in place and protect you and kind of control what your expenses are, because the deductible will be maybe $100, $125, but at least it's not going to break the bank, it's gonna, you know, you have an HVAC problem, you know, new HVAC system could cost $5,000–6,000. So in a situation like that, yeah, a home warranty would be very useful.
But we turn it down, let it run for a little while. I don't like to get anybody cold or hot.
Right,
I like to run it for at least 45 minutes.
Right.
Make sure there's nothing going on, like the line sets icing up. There's no rod around the door.
How's the roof looking?
It's looks like it might be original, but it still has some life left in it.
Okay.
Just some broken shingles up there, normal things that I see with age.
Yeah, it's because it's the, what do they call that? The 2-tab?
3-tab.
3-tab?
3-tab shingle, yeah. So it's like a 20-year, 25, depending on the frame.
Okay. Oh, they're the door. Oh, they painted the door. They covered the doorbell.
Yeah, I guess they sprayed in here when they painted.
Want me to ring the doorbell for you to make sure it works?
I already checked it, but you can if you want to.
Cool. Huh, I believe you.
Now, if you're buying a house and you're using an FHA loan, and it's the same with like a VA loan or any kind of one of those like VHDA or government assisted loans, their inspection requirements or their appraisers are going to come out, and the inspection requirements are going to be a little bit more stringent. If this stove wasn't here, the FHA wouldn't approve it. The appraiser would come out and say, "Now there's got to be a stove in place." Or if these windows, which are in great shape, if these windows were broken, or if there was a crack in the window, or even if one of the window seals was busted, the FHA appraiser might require that that thing be repaired. It's not that they're going to deny your loan; they're just going to make it a contingency upon a repair. So the home seller would be required to fix that defect if they wanted to move forward in the sale. Otherwise, release the purchaser from the contract, which is unfortunate if that should happen because the purchaser paid for a home inspection. Hey, Red, do you mind if I talk about what you charge for a home inspection?
Sure.
This house is a 2,100 square foot. I think it's 2,149 square feet. This was $375, which is standard.
Yeah, some prices are a little higher out there, maybe 50, 70 bucks, but it goes. I'm not the cheapest, I'm not the most expensive either. If a client loses out on a house, and I've already done an inspection for them, I'll usually discount their second home inspection because I hate that they have to come out of pocket over and over again.
Another thing is that if you're going to do a pre-home inspection, if you're a seller and you want to have your home looked at before you even put it on the market to discover these little things so that they're not an issue later on, Red also does pre-home inspections.
Yes.
And to my clients, he gives a little bit of a discount. Reach out to me, we'll talk about that. Okay, so my GoPro just died on me, so I'm switching to my iPhone right now. But I was talking about the little things that a home seller can do, especially in a situation like this where they really put a lot of money into renovating this home and they just didn't do the small things. And I want to point out a couple of these things to you. Like I said before, this is a 59 cents fix at Home Depot. You spent thousands and tens of thousands of dollars renovating this home, and you didn't go the last mile and just replace all of those throughout the house. Literally 59 cents. Like the home inspector just pointed out before, a leak in the ceiling with a puddle on the floor, and you saw how we shook that toilet earlier. This is just 2 screws. You couldn't have fixed that garage door opener. You couldn't have just filled that in with mortar. Your failed attempt to nail a water spigot to a brick wall using a framing nail, or whatever that is, it just didn't work. This step right here is fallen. You couldn't have just secured that up. Or get this crawl space door fixed. The bottom came off the hinge. Very loose toilet, which has led to that leak downstairs in the garage I just pointed out. I mean, overall, it's a very nice house. It looks beautiful. The space, the way, you know, the kitchen flows into the living room, and it's laid out perfectly. It's a really beautiful home. And the owner of the home is the seller. The listing agent is actually the owner. And this home was purchased as an investment. And I could tell they poured tens of thousands of dollars into renovating it. But those things I just pointed out, I mean, it makes it look like it was a hack job. And in reality, it's a nice house. It just needs some repairs. But when you're spending tens of thousands of dollars to get a home fixed and resold for profit, I mean, those little things I pointed out, especially those little 59-cent door stops and the garage door opener thing flopping around loose and a leak. I mean, all those things. It's like, come on, fix those things. Well, it matters because it speaks volumes about the quality of the renovation that was done to the house overall. Because I'm sure there were a lot of things that were done to this house that we can't see. But when we see the stuff I just pointed out, it makes you think, well, what's behind the walls then? If they did that and they took shortcuts, well, what else is wrong with it, right? Well, that's why you get a home inspector, and that's why he has that thermal imaging thing so you can see behind the walls. But sometimes that doesn't capture all of it. Now, again, this is a great house. I think my buyer should move forward with it, but I definitely feel like that seller needs to remedy those defects, because those are defects. A lot of the things, not the door stops. The door stop thing is not a defect. That's more of a cosmetic. And it's a good example of what's cosmetic because it's functioning the way it should, but it's just nasty and rusty. It's got paint on it. It's cosmetic. It's not a big deal. Now it's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime now.
All right, so we're done with the home inspection, or Red's done with the home inspection, and he just got out of the crawl space. One thing he noticed was the polybutylene pipes.
Yeah, polybutylene pipe was used in the late 80s and 90s up to 1996, I think. So don't hold me to it, but it was around 96 when they quit using it. So it just, it had failure, a higher than normal failure rate. Okay. Usually it was, they say it was chlorine that caused it, the pipe to break down, or some people's, the fittings might have had issues. They had some plastic fittings and they had some brass fittings and some copper, whatever fittings. But it's just a note for the client to know that it's there. It's not a defect with the house. Okay, so that's not a defect. That's more of a, well, it's not a cosmetic thing. It's not a defect. It's just operating in the way it was intended to operate. Yeah. But more to let them know that it had issues in the past. Right. And I think there was a fund, right? Isn't there like a fund set up for people who? There was. I don't think it's run out now. Okay. Yeah. It's just been so long ago. Okay. So, but I still see polybutylene plumbing at least once a week in older houses, 1990s and stuff. People are still using it. Okay, so that's it for today. And any questions, comment below. I'm going to have some links in the description below. I spoke about FHA requirements. Well, I'm going to put a link below to what it's a list of things that the FHA looks for, the FHA appraiser, that is, and based on whether or not those things are defective or not, they may require that they be fixed. So that's it. So Red, thanks for letting me do this. You're welcome. Yes. Recording you, and see you next time. All right. Bye. Care.